Deck Kid here, and today I'm going to be showing you the deck you can build this deck from 3 copies of the Mechanised Madness structure deck. So structure deck focus around the Machina monsters. So just got monster spells and traps, so I'll just run through the deck quickly. Okay, so first of all you're going to be playing 3 copies of Machina Citadel. It's the main boss monster in the deck. So it can't be normal summon or set, but has to be special summoned by a card effect. And then as a quick effect, you can target a machine monster you control, you can destroy it, and all the monsters your opponent controls with attack less than or equal to that monster's attack. And if a face-up Earth machine monster you control except it is destroyed with Battle of Card effect while the Citadel's in your graveyard, you get to special summon this, but you can only use each effect of Machina Citadel once per turn. That's a hard one per turn. This is the main boss monster. You can easily get this into your graveyard and then bring it out to apply pressure on your opponent. Next we have 3 copies of the Machina Aerator. So this card says you can discard another Machina monster and you can special summon it from your hand. This is an easy way to get the Citadel into your graveyard. Then during your opponent's turn, as a quick effect, you can target a machine monster you control, special summon from your deck a Machina monster with a different name and an equal or lower level than monster, and if you do destroy the monster you control and you targeted, each effect hard off per turn. But this is good because you get the Citadel into your graveyard, then in your turn at the opponent's turn you target it, bring out a Machina from your deck, a strong one, because this has quite a high level, strong one, like Machina Fortress, destroy it, then bring back the Citadel from your graveyard. Similarly, the Machina Irradiator, 3 copies. You can discard another Machina monster, special summon it from your hand. You can target a machine monster you control, special summon from your graveyard, a Machina monster with a different name and equal or lower level. If you do destroy the monster you control, and you can only use each effect hard once per turn. So, like the Aerator, but the effect, you get to summon the monster from your graveyard, not your deck. But this effect can be used on your turn and doesn't have to be used on your opponent's turn. So another easy way to get out the Citadel. My personal preference is Aerator because it stops you. You don't have to have monster in your graveyard, but this is still good if you're going second. 3 copies of Machina Fortress. This is a similar card. It's a very strong monster. You can discard machine monsters whose total level is equal to 8 or more. Special it from your hand or graveyard, so it's a good target to discard with cards when you already have your Citadels in your graveyard. If it's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, target a card your opponent destroys, destroy that target. And before resolving an opponent's monster effect that target this face-up card, look at your opponent's hand and discard 1 card from the hand, so it's good for disrupting your opponent. And that's also just 2,500 attack and a nice powerful beat stick. Getting into Machina Gear Frame, 3 copies. This is a union monster. When it's normal summoned, you can add a machine monster from your deck to your hand. So it's very useful. This will be your monster which you normal summon about 95% of the time, because it searches your machine monster. Once per turn, you can equip it or unequip and special summon it from a machine monster you control, and if that machine monster will be destroyed by battle or card effect, you destroy it instead. So traditional, simple union. 2 copies of Machina Sniper. Monsters cannot attack Machina monsters, head Machina Sniper. The reason I play this is because it has a neat interaction with Machina Defense Perimeter, which I'll explain later on in the video. And then the other 1 copy of Machina Possessed Rage. So if normal special summoned, you can special summon a Machina monster in your graveyard, in defense position, but it can't activate effects this turn. And you can target a Machina monster you control and another Machina monster you control and a spell or trap your opponent controls, and you bounce both of them. You can only use each effect of it once per turn, so this is just good because if you have a monster you want in your graveyard out in defense position, another monster you can special summon it, and also it is fine as a normal summon even if you have a monster in your graveyard. So that's why I said you're going to be normal summoning the gear frame 95% of the time, but this is the other 5%. And then 1 copy of Machina Peacekeeper. It's a union. And then when this card on the battlefield is destroyed and sent to the grave, you can add a union monster from your deck to your hand. It has the same union effect as this, but the fact that searches your gear frame when it's destroyed, even when it's being used as the union, is very good, especially when you can activate it, attach it to your card easily with unauthorized reactivation. So that's the monsters. Next we'll move on to the spells. 3 copies of Machina Redeployment. This is the main spell card in the deck. You can activate 1 of the effects, discard a card, add 2 Machina monsters from your deck to your hand with different name, discard a Machina card, add 2 Machina cards, not monsters, with different names from each other for your deck to your hand, except National Redeployment. You can only activate one of these per turn, but basically if you place it on your first turn, you will be able to have easily a Citadel during your a Citadel plus 1 other monster during your opponent's turn. You could even extend further on that based on the cards you have in your hand, but basically this just allows you to start comboing off. Next we have 3 copies of Machina Defense Perimeter. So while you control level 7 or higher machine monster, the opponent's monsters can't target my level 6 or lower monsters, machine monsters for attacks, nor for card effects. If a face-up machine monster I control is destroyed by a battle or card effect, I can target a machine monster in my graveyard and bring it back to my hand, and I can use that effect only once per turn. So this is good because if you have this and a Machina Sniper out, and also a level 7 or higher monster, your opponent can't attack you, which is a neat interaction. And because this deck isn't very powerful, because it's just 3 copies of a structure deck, the interruption and forcing your opponent to expend resource on destroying the defense perimeter or your big monster is a very good way to generate card advantage and gradually win the game. So I like that card very much. 3 copies of Unauthorized Reactivation, quick play spell, target a machine monster you control, then equip a Union from your hand or deck type monster. It can't be special summon this turn, and you can only wait this card once per turn. This is just for getting that Peacekeeper to attaching to your monsters to stop them from being destroyed. And also, when they will be destroyed, the Peacekeeper will be destroyed, you get to search another machine monster to help you combo off on the next turn, which is very handy. Many people don't like this card, but I think it's very useful for just a bit of preventing your opponents from just, if they have stuff like Raigeki, which would otherwise annihilate our board, this just prevents it from happening, and it's very, very simple. Next up, limit removal, quick play, 3 copies. Double the attack of all machine monsters you control until the end of the turn. During the end phase of that turn, destroy those monsters. Just easy for OTKing your opponent. If you have 2 Citadels out, that's 12,000 points of damage. Should be an easy OTK. 3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. Quick play, pay 1,000 life points, target a spell and trap on the field, banish it. Very good for getting rid of problematic spells or traps, and also spells or traps which still have effects from the graveyard, like stuff like Toy Vendor for Shuffles or similar effects. And it just gives that extra level of protection because it banishes them. And final ones were traps, 3 copies of Machina Overdrive. This is the best trap in the deck. So you target a machine, it's a regular trap, target a machine monster you control. Special summon a Machina monster with a different name from your hand or deck, and if you do, destroy that target monster. So very good for bringing out Citadel on your opponent's turn. And also, irrespective of the level, like if you have a weak one, like a Peacekeeper, somehow you manage to normal summon that out, you can bring out a Citadel straight from your deck and destroy the Peacekeeper to search something else. And then you can banish that from your graveyard and target 3 of your machine monsters with a banisher in your graveyard, shuffle them into your deck, then draw a card. Isn't that useful, but it's good if you just need a bit of extra resources or a bit of discard fodder. You can only use one of its effects per turn, only once that turn, so it means you can either activate the trap effect or the other effect. And finally, 3 copies of Solemn Strike. It's a good trap, the best good one included in the deck. So counter trap when a monster will be special summoned or a monster effect is activated. Pay 1,500 life points, negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Very useful for interruption. So yep, that is the Machina deck. 3 copies of Mechanised Madness, Machina Citadel, Boss Monster. Great, so please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.